Welcome back, it is your boy Joker, and we're here again with another zzzero video. Now, if you guys do like zzzero stuff, gotcha things in general, we do play Never This to Ever. This is not out yet, but we will get there once it does come out. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and we are going to go ahead and jump right into, I guess you could say, the best, or the whole purpose of this video. As you can see from the title, we are going to be talking about the Miyabi nerfs. Now, this is coming from somebody that is a main of the Void Hunters. I am a Miyabi main. I complete literally all the content with all of the Void Hunters, and I have been playing for a long time. This is nothing, I guess you could say, new for the people that have come here. You can literally see the profile picture on my channel and see that Miyabi is my favorite character along with Yixuan. These are my peoples. But I'm going to talk about this, and I guess you could say I'm gonna try to be as unbiased as possible, because I do understand certain aspects of why things might happen or why they are happening, but at the same time have to talk about I guess you can say why this is a bad thing, or maybe even a good thing, depending. And yes, there is an exclamation mark right there on the events. I'm missing something, but I'm gonna do it after this video, so y'all gonna have to bear with me. Anyways, let's go ahead and break down Miyabi in stages. I want to go ahead and talk about her in the early game, and then I'm going to talk about her in the end game. And then we're going to have, I guess you could say, situations or statements that I will say of why I feel a certain way about it. I want you guys to go ahead and hop in the comments. Let me know what you guys feel or your thoughts of the matter. Now, again, let's talk about her in the early game. Miyabi was the very first Void Hunter that we have seen. She is probably one of the most, if not at that time for sure, anticipated characters in the game. We saw her early. She was somebody that had a kit that was already released before the game was even really released, as people that were playing closed betas before the game came out was using her. We just saw her, and we knew that she was going to be very strong. Now, when we look at nerfs, we usually look at nerfs or strength when it comes to in-game content. Obviously, throughout the story, you can really use any characters that you want, and you can beat the story. To be honest, you can use any characters that you want within the game and beat in-game content too. Just depends on how much you put into that character and that team. You could use any character and destroy, or not necessarily destroy, but be able to complete in-game content. However, you do have somebody like Miyabi that was released that can destroy it. So we look at the DPS role in the early game. You had pretty much attack agents and you had anomaly agents. These were the two biggest roles that people used. At that point, before she came out, it was somewhat even, right? You had your attack agents that you can come in and use. Yuan and Ellen was the people that come to mind within that came out and did good damage. It just depended on the playstyle that you wanted to use. And you had anomaly that had some good characters and good stuff, I guess you can say, at that point as well. I know a lot of people, while not being an S-rank character, were using Piper. Piper was very good. Obviously, you have people like Jane Doe as well pulling up, and it was in a decent place. Now, Miyabi comes out. Miyabi comes out and not only is the best character, but completely, I guess you could say, shatters the system. This is because of just how strong her entire kit is. This is somebody who at base was probably multiplying whatever numbers you were putting up with your usual groups, like by damn near 4 to 5 times. This is a character that comes in and easy claps literally everything that was in the in-game content at that time. Let's talk about what we have in the in-game content. So at that point, you had your Shiyu defense, right? You bring 2 teams. Miyabi made it to where it was very easy, because you only really had to bring 1 team. If Miyabi was on the other team, whether you put her in the first phase or the second phase, she was going to immediately destroy whatever was in front of her. That's just kind of realistic in how it was. So yes, it did take away some of the problems that a lot of characters were, or a lot of players, my fault, was having playing some of the Shiyu defense, because it did take away a little bit of the, I guess you could say, skill or grind aspect. With Miyabi going in there, especially that early, she's blitzing 1/2 of the Shiyu defense, no matter who the second person is. You really only had to put in all of your effort into that other team, see if you can knock out the time as fast as you could, or have at least a little bit enough left, because you knew Miyabi was going to blitz it, that was going to be very easy. And then you have something called the simulation trial. This was something that was like a tower of just straight bosses and waves of enemies that you had to continuously complete to get a high level, and you could earn ranks through them. You had your gold and diamond, platinum, all of that type of stuff, right? I don't remember the ranks off the top of my head, but I knew legend was the number one. It gave you something to do, something to strive for. However, you only really needed to bring one team. You brought extras if your other team died, or if you wanted to swap, but, well, Miyabi existed at that time. You didn't really need to bring anybody else. Even the people that were there that were resistant against ice didn't really matter. I literally used Miyabi through the entire tower. Got legend on all 3 game modes. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was fairly simple, fairly easy. Miyabi was the strongest. So we look at the in-game content now. In-game content now is a lot different. You have something called Deadly Assault, which is something that wasn't necessarily there at the very beginning, but Deadly Assault comes in where you got to have a combat rating of at least 20,000 and 3 separate bosses so that you can 9-star. That is how you complete Deadly Assault. The 3 separate bosses, you need to use 3 separate teams. You cannot repeat any teams. Kind of like Shiyu Defense with the 2 teams. Can't repeat anybody. Not only that, but Shiyu Defense itself now has an extra game mode where there are 3 bosses at the end, which is the same as Deadly Assault, and you have to bring 3 separate teams, trying to get a high ranking within it. What state is the game in now as far as bosses go? We have, of course, a different end game than we did before. The simulation trial does not update, so nobody really plays that. Everybody's already beat that. Shiyu Defense and Deadly Assault are the constant updates, and you take a total of 9 characters in both, right? The game now has released, I want to say, out of the past couple of patches, a majority, let's go 85 to 90% of bosses have been released that completely restricts her in general, Miyabi, right? And this isn't like me guessing or thinking that it is. This is just facts. We have people like the Wandering Hunter with the defense buff, even though they are resistant to, or they take extra damage from ice characters, they have high defense. You have the Thrall can't really be hit by Anomaly. You have the Defiler and Miasmic Priest, just multiple people in general that not only have the Miasmic Shield, but are just essentially not only can't be frozen, like Pompeii, another one, they can't be frozen, but are resistant to ice, have resistances to ice. Especially somebody like another one, Vesper, resistant to ice, and also cannot be frozen. Let's talk about essentially what is the problems that I have with this. The main problem with Miyabi was her strongest team. Her strongest team was Mono Ice. Mono Ice was destroying things at a great and a rapid pace, to where I guess you could say the developers felt like it was too easy for Miyabi to do it. I'm going to name four problems of why that was, or why it is becoming a mistake, in my opinion, to hard target Miyabi. Now, I do want to premise or say that this is a soft nerf, not a hard nerf. While I do say hard target, it is still a soft nerf because they have yet to actually nerf Miyabi herself. I have seen a lot of people saying she is getting hard nerfed. It is not necessarily the case. Nothing is being changed in her kit. However, the soft nerf comes because a lot of bosses are coming out that are specifically making sure that you don't use her to complete the content, or that encourage you to use somebody else because she is as strong as she is. Let me go from point 1. Like I said, I got 4 points here, and I want your guys' opinions on it. I'm gonna go by 4 Point one of the 4. By doing this, the game is essentially encouraging you to summon 4 extra characters and essentially telling you that it doesn't really matter what you summoned for before. We want you to summon for these new characters. This is a marketing tactic, which is not very surprising. It's understandable, right? Like, if I do come out with a character that you guys pick and you don't care about the other characters, how am I going to make my money? Do you know what I mean? Obviously, there's going to always be somebody that summons for the characters, but they do want to try to make sure that a majority, or they can get the maximum amount of people summoning for characters that they possibly can. And especially making new bosses and new things cater to the new characters that come out. If I come out with a new boss and this new character, I'm going to make sure that boss is not only going to be weak to the new character, but has to be resistant to Miyabi, because we don't want you to just bring Miyabi in. You know what I mean? Like, let's say Arya, for example. Arya and Vesper. Vesper's weak against Anomaly. Okay, well, obviously a lot of people are going to just immediately think to bring Miyabi. Well, we're going to make sure she's also resistant against ice, so no Miyabi for you. It is a marketing tactic. And it is unfortunate, because I think that my problem with this is, I understand that's how you guys are trying to make your money, but I feel like players shouldn't have to feel like they are forced to summon for people to complete endgame. And yes, you can still complete some endgame with certain characters, but I feel like if they want to use a character that happens to be good, they should be able to. I think the purpose about this game is that not a lot of people play meta. Yes, Miyabi is a meta character, but I've always felt like it's good to be able to play who you want when you want, and you shouldn't be punished for it. If your favorite character happens to be Miyabi, you shouldn't necessarily have to be punished because she is strong. It is what it is. It's the game. You know what I mean? I don't think that this isn't like Tekken or Street Fighter or something like that, where there has to be live competitive balances, because there's this multiplayer function with certain, like, it doesn't exist. It's just you testing your might against endgame characters. That's just literally all it is. What it is, in my opinion, is that they want you to summon for other characters. They want to continuously make money, which I'm not necessarily, I get it. From a business perspective, I get it. I don't want you to keep using Miyabi. I want you to spend money. However, that goes into my second point. Free-to-play players should, in my opinion, have an option to have a character that feels this strong, as they don't use as many resources, or don't have as many resources as a bunch of people that are paying constantly for the game. And to have a character like Miyabi that feels free, I feel like they shouldn't also have to get punished for that. Let me use an example. Free-to-play players, or people that aren't complete whales or whatever. They can play the game. They know what characters come out before they come out, because you have your live streams, or they can literally go online and take 2 seconds to look at leaks somewhere. But not everybody is online to do it. So at anything, you can still look at the live streams when they come out. Miyabi being a character that exists in the game, I feel like gives the people that play the game, the free players, a way to be able to be that strong, be able to complete that amount of content without having to be pushed to summon for every other character that comes out, because they don't have the resources to summon for every other character that comes out. Let me also make this correlation here. Miyabi's strongest team was Mono Ice. Mono Ice is very available to be played by the free-to-play players. You didn't really need any constellations. When the game starts on the standard summons, you get to pick a character that you want from S rank after you do enough summons on them. That could have literally been Lycon. Sokaku is a S rank agent that's pretty much free. And her constellations, you summon enough for whatever banner she's on, you're going to get it. There are also other ways to get constellations from her. And then you just use your normal summons that you saved up for Miyabi. That's it. Boom. You have her here. This was a strong team, even without necessarily having her weapon. Her weapon just unlocked her even that much more. I feel like the free-to-play players should have that option because they can feel like they can get through certain parts of the game, if need be, with Miyabi, and then just be able to summon for whoever else they want, be able to summon for whatever else they want to do for the other teams, right? This is an option that I feel like is being taken away from them, because a lot of the people, I have friends that have I guess you can say a Void Hunter team as well. They don't have no super powerful Miyabi, but they have Miyabi, and Miyabi has been somebody that's helped them through the game. Now they're going into Deadly Assaults right now, and they're not even able to finish it. Now, of course, you know, you can finish Deadly Assault if you just put enough time in certain characters, right, to get there. But again, that goes back, tying into my first point that I don't want to have to like go back on, that you shouldn't have to feel like you are forced to summon for other characters or to do things with other characters because they are hard targeting a character that you happen to play or like. Do you know what I mean? Like, that I don't feel like is a good feeling, and it doesn't encourage like being able to summon for the characters that you like, when if you want to summon for characters you like but also complete in-game with them, well, if you happen to be a Miyabi fan, good luck. Do you know what I mean? Let's go ahead and go to the third point that I wanted to say out of the four. The third point is that by targeting Miyabi like this, not only are you targeting Miyabi, but you are indeed targeting other ice agents. You have players that don't even care about Miyabi at all, right? They don't really care. They don't use her, or they just didn't summon for her, so it doesn't necessarily affect them, but they still are ice mains. I'm talking about people that play Hugo. I'm talking about people that play Ellen Joe. Ellen Joe is an OG. She is the OG. She is the very first limited character on the banner. She was a character that essentially got a buff that was supposed to put her back up there towards the top, or at least a good option, a viable option. By having all of the bosses that are coming out, not all, right, but a majority of bosses being specifically resistant to ice, people that are Ellen Joe mains, Hugo mains, hell, even Itahari mains at this point, are getting direct nerfs or indirect nerfs because of what they're doing to Miyabi. And I don't think it is fair for those players as well, because one, they don't even use Miyabi. They literally don't even use Miyabi, and they're getting cooked because of something that people are trying to target another character for. I don't feel like that is fair to them. And then when you look at future ice agents, it's like, well, what exactly do you have a reason to summon for them for? When a majority of the bosses in the game are already resistant to them, when a new ice agent comes out, what is the point? Now, I do know that they're going to continuously come out with new ice agents, but I'm just saying, as far as the main DPS perspective, what is the point? By taking away freeze, you took away what a majority of ice DPS agents are fantastic at. That's part of their kit and why they shine so much, is by having freeze there. Hugo with the totalize, Ellen Joe being able to hit the rest of her combo. Freeze is very important. By taking away freeze, you're damn near making some of the other characters not as useful that are in the ice element. Now, of course, you still get the damage from them, but freeze is just part of, it's literally part of what they are doing. It's part of the whole purpose of using ice. And that's being taken away because you were targeting Miyabi. So I do feel bad for the other people that happen to be ice mains, or even people in the future that are looking at ice characters and having to realize that most of the bosses that are already out are resistant, can't be frozen, and it doesn't really matter. Because I feel like, again, to sum it up, by doing what they are doing now, it's not making it feel good to want to summon for other ice characters. We do have Promia coming out, which is literally just an ice anomaly character, and I mean, she looks cool. We'll see how people feel about that, but I feel like you are already indirectly nerfing her, because even though she comes out as ice anomaly, I'm guessing the boss that comes out with her is going to be weak against ice anomaly, but have some sort of resistances to crit damage so that people still can't use Miyabi. But that's specifically one boss, whereas every other boss is going to pretty much fall to the same thing that she's falling toward as the Miyabi nerfs continue to come through. The fourth thing that I guess you can say bothers me the most and this is coming from somebody that not only is a Miyabi fan, but is also a Yixuan fan. Future Void Hunters are in trouble. We already see what's going on with Miyabi. They're pretty much taking ice out of the game in real time. You know what I mean? Which is kind of unfortunate. When it comes to the point to where Rupture becomes very strong, or it's already very strong, right, in my opinion. But when Rupture becomes a problem to where people are going to really only use Yixuan and not care about the other characters. I mean, you could look at the sales. Yixuan completely dominates all the other Rupture characters. I feel like she's going to be somebody that ends up in that predicament herself. Same thing with Yixuan. If they're treating Miyabi this bad, I feel bad for anybody that's going to be a main of the subcategory of the Void Hunters. If you are somebody that plays Ether, or you like Ether, and Yixuan becomes a problem that they feel like they want to target next, guess what? All of those Ether DPS characters that are underneath Yixuan are going to start feeling the wrath of sub nerfs or soft nerfs that they're going to hit Yixuan with. The same thing's going to eventually happen to Yixuan. The Void Hunters are the strongest characters in lore. They are also the strongest characters in the game. I don't ever feel like it should be a problem for the Void Hunters to be the strongest characters in the game. I don't see that. It's damn near lore accurate. But again, I feel like when it comes to those three direct characters, and maybe even future Void Hunters, the worst that the less money that they make, the more they are going to target the Void Hunters to try to get you to buy the new characters. But see, the thing is, at the end of the day, when you look at the base, all Void Hunters are going to be the best characters in their respective element. That's just how it is. It's almost like the Archons in Genshin Impact. They were just the best. You know, you had some characters that really shined, and some characters that might have outshined. Like, you know, you had Kazuha and all that type of stuff. But it's a different, what do you call it? They're usually the best. It's the same thing here. The Void Hunters are going to be the best. I don't really see the problem, considering that at the end of the day, Miyabi can only do so much by herself. Yeah, she can steamroll something, but when you look at Deadly Assault, there are 3 levels to it. At max, Miyabi is going to give you 3 stars. She's not going to give you all 9 stars by herself. Same thing with the Deadly Assault. At max, she's going to steamroll one of the 2 lanes, and then now that they have 3 bosses at the very end, she's going to KO one of the bosses. I feel like it is not really needed to be nerfing her or to be soft nerfing her this much. I just don't see why it is still in the game up to this point. At max, she's going to get you 3 stars in Deadly Assault. At max, she's going to get you 1 S+ rank in Shiyu Defense. There's no reason to completely do this, because again, you are soft nerfing multiple characters, a whole element, indirectly, just to try to have people not summon or summon for the new characters, which is not fair in my opinion. You have people that put money, that put a lot of time and effort into Miyabi. You have a lot of free-to-play players that have Miyabi being their way out, their key to being able to finish certain things that you're taking away from them. I just don't see why it is that much of a problem or an issue to keep doing it. But if they keep doing it, which I assume that they are going to, for the other people that use Void Hunters, please watch out. Because Yixuan's next. And then Shengguang is going to be next after that. Because at the end of the day, Deadly Assault, you need 3. Shiyu Defense, you need 3. They're gonna, every other Void Hunter that comes out, somebody's gonna get targeted in the game, because there's too many people that come in and just use the 3 Void Hunters to clear the entire Deadly Assault. And Hoyoverse doesn't like that, because they want to continuously make money off of the new characters, whose banner sales never reach any of the Void Hunters, but they're not going to, because they're Void Hunters. That's just how it is. Anyways, let me know how you guys feel. That was my little mini rant. Thank you guys for staying. And let me know what you guys think. Do you think that the Miyabi nerfs are too much? Do you think that they are valid, that they're supposed to happen? Like I said, I try to be as unbiased as possible. I do understand why, I guess you can say, but I feel like the the risk to reward, the good to bad ratios just don't match up necessarily for me. I want to premise again, me, I finish the in-game content like all the time. Like I'm constantly around the top 1%. So it's not really that the game is hard for me, but I'm trying to speak for the people that don't, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying to kind of speak for the general player. So anyways, let me know how you guys feel. Love you guys. Catch y'all later. Peace.